This is the fourth tutorial video for one flag. And before I start on respawn zones, I should mention I forgot to show one or two small details in the previous video, so bear with me. When I was talking about the alignment for these, I forgot to mention that it's not absolutely important, but it's best that the flag stand piece, the brightly colored piece in this, that there is a gap between the kill volume and the base of this, and that the piece I provided, which is the cap for that, should be about exactly or just slightly into the kill volume, because when we drop the flag in there, it's best that it has something to land on, so in case it doesn't delete itself immediately. We've had this problem where we had a map where this was just open over the water underneath the base on a forge map, and what happened was the flag was moved to this to delete. It didn't delete, and it just kept dropping down into the water, and you can see this nav point of this flag constantly respawning and dropping into the water and despawning and coming back up. So that's when we figured out that the flag actually needs something to land on, just to be sure, absolutely sure that it gets deleted. So that's one of the other reasons for this piece here, is because if you don't have a piece of terrain or ground or a forged piece for the flag to drop onto, it's best to use the piece I provided inside the pump, inside the pipe. So there you go. That's how it should align, just like so. I see there's a slight overlap here. Anyhow, on to respawning the respawn zones. We're just going to move this up to where we want it for hiding blue side. As you can see, I already did blue side, so I'm going to save the map here, and we're going to do respawn zones. Now, as I said before, you want to delete all the respawn zones as part of the preparation for the map. Sometimes you already have CTF respawn zones, and you're going to want to keep them on your map just for the convenience of knowing the position and the measurements for them, just so that you can copy them to the new one. We're not going to in this map, because as you can see, this map here, the blue respawn zone, which is actually, sorry, the blue anti-respawn zone, covers a really good portion of the map, and the red respawn zone overlaps them. You see how that's the red one there, and that's the blue one there, and they're actually overlapping. We can't have this, unfortunately, in one flag, so I'm just going to delete those. Actually, I want to make sure I deleted all the respawn zones in the map, so I'm just going to spawn one, volumes, respawn zone, do a select all, and you see it didn't find any others, so we'll just delete that. So there are no respawn zones on this map. Typically, you want your respawn zones to intersect the map exactly in half, but that can be changed. Sometimes you want the attackers to spawn closer to their base, and the defenders to be a little more spread out. It all depends on your map and how you want it to play. But just keep in mind that red team will not spawn on the wrong side of the map, so with the methods we use. So it's up to you to figure out where what line of your map you want to be the boundary between attacker and defender. Not so much red and blue, but attacker and defender. You might want the defenders all to spawn in the base or near the base. That's fine. As I say, it's completely up to you. So I'll let you decide where you want to put them. I'll just show you how to place them. Really simple. We're back on the red base side here. There's two respawn, one for red and one for blue. So let's go to our prefabs. We'll get 1F red spawn zones. We'll place that. Not enough physical space because there's no room on this map to forge. Let's just keep changing our angles till we find a spot. There we go. Now, I know that if I drag this down, it's going to pop outside the map like that tube did in the previous video. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to change my snap to 4 feet. I'm going to use the coordinate systems to bring it into the map rather than, you see how it does this weird thing? And I'm going to bring these into the map. Oh, go a bit higher. Once they're inside the map, they're pretty safe. It's just when the pieces are outside the map, they tend to fly off into space while you're forging. That's why I use the coordinate system, and it's faster if you set it to 4 feet. Once they're inside, you get control back. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put these roughly where we want red team to spawn at the start. Oh, before I even do this, one thing we found, this is more prevalent in big team battle maps, is that in one flag you don't want teams to be spawning right in front of the flag that's about to be picked up, because there's always a chance that an attacker is going to come in, kill 1 or 2 players in the field. By the time they go into the base, there's someone spawned right by the flag. You don't want that. So, and alternately, when your flag's away, you don't want to spawn way at the back of the base. You want to spawn not, definitely midfield, but you want to spawn somewhere that gives you a chance to catch them. Because if you spawn way back here, you just feel frustrated because there's no way you're going to be able to stop the flag run. So in this case, all we're going to do is we're going to just delete the spawns inside red base. Okay, the ones that are just closest to the flag. So we're going to get rid of those. And we can probably do in the case of this map, we can probably do the same for blue base. In this case, I'm just going to move these spawn points just to move them outside of the base for that one. These ones up here are fine. It's just these couple that are facing the flag. We're gonna get rid of those. It's just the 2 spawn points. The one down here is fine, except I would because this is an attacker's base. All I'm gonna do is turn that spawn so that it's more facing an attacking direction. You kind of want players to spawn generally facing where they should be going. The midfield spawns doesn't matter so much, but the ones near the base, you kind of want to orient players so that when a blue player spawns, they're kind of facing the direction you want them to go. So that's another benefit of having a dedicated map for one flag, is you really get some freedom as to where to place the spawns and respawn points and initial spawns. Anyhow, back to placing the initial spawn points. I provided you with 8, being that this is more of a 4v4 map. You don't need to keep all 8, but I'll just drop them in for the sake of speeding this up. And I don't know exactly how high they should go, so I'm going to try to do a little trick. I'm going to make the parent of this group a spawn point, initial spawn point, which it is. One of these is the parent of the group. And I'm going to place, just duplicate this spawn point. I'm going to set it to fixed. And I'm just going to drop it on the floor here. Okay, just going to drop it on the floor. Then I'm going to select this entire group. And then I'm just going to do the same trick I did with a positional snap, and I'm just going to snap everything to the Z coordinate. And that definitely doesn't look right. So, you know what, I'm just going to bring it up manually. And I'll drop them down to the floor later when I do the position. Let me get rid of the spawn point. Now, the pieces of this. This prefab has 8 respawn points. They say you don't need all 8, but you should probably have them all in your map. It's got 2, a red and a blue, not to be confused with Yeah, an attacker and a defender initial spawn zone that forces you to spawn on the right side of the map for each round. Your initial spawns must be within the two of them. And the next bit are the brains, which control which of the spawn zones spawn in each round. And somewhere, I don't know where they are. They're somewhere in the geometry, I think. We're going to find them in a second. The way we're going to do this is very carefully. If you can't find your other spawn zones because they get stuck in the geometry somewhere, I don't see them anywhere. What we're going to do is we're going to be real careful about this. We're just going to ungroup everything. Don't deselect. Make sure that it still says 14 pieces. And you're going to deselect each of the respawn points until you only have 6 items in your group. See, our group is 6 items now. And regroup everything again. See, I didn't let go. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I don't know where the actual spawn points are. So I've got to pull this out until I locate them. You know what? I'm going to move this into the middle of the map rather than pull it off to the side here. Let's just pull it out. There they are, right down here. Okay. So now that I know where they are, I can see them. I can see everything. I can see these ones. I can see the brains. Now I can deselect these. Okay. So all I'm going to do is grab my initial spawn zones and my respawn zone brains, and those 4 items, and I'm going to group those together. Okay. And I'm going to put them back in the base, completely surrounding. Make sure that the bottom also gets caught, like make sure that the bottom is well below the floor so they are completely enveloped inside these spawn zones. I'm not going to bother positioning these guys here. You can do that depending on your map, but the way I usually do it for big team battle is you want everyone to be to be able to see the flag spawn in when they spawn in, so that they because it's not there at the very first second, it's there like in the second you'll see the flag spawn in. I prefer that players see the flag spawn in, because if it spawns in behind them, they don't actually know where it is the first time they play. So it's always best to have the initial spawns behind the flag, and then like 4 on this side and 4 on this side or whatever, so that everyone's generally facing an exit of the base, and they can also, somewhere in their vision, they can also see the flag stand. So just make sure each one of these aligns so that every player as they spawn in can see the flag spawn. Not so important for attacker's base, because a flag will never spawn in this base. It only spawns in red base. You change sides, but the flag doesn't. So where your initial spawns here, that's entirely up to you, but you don't need to be able to see the flag stand, because you're going to get that nav point anyway. So back here, the brains are kind of in the ceiling here, but let's just pull them down so they're... Oh wait, let's ungroup them. We're just going to drop those down so they're a little more convenient. It's best to have the blue above the blue. Just I'll show you why in a bit, but that's a good layout for this map right now. We'll just these could be adjusted, but for demonstration purposes, that's fine. The most important part is your respawn zones, but you don't want to adjust these quite yet, and there's a reason for that, and it's all about saving time. What we're going to do is we're going to get the prefabs for blue base. So blue 1F blue spawn zones. Not enough room. Try that again. 1F blue spawn zones. There they are. Let's. We're just gonna, as I said, you can take your time and do this right, but we're just gonna do this right real quick right now. I want to find my respawn zones. There's those, and the only reason I'm doing this so quickly is because I want to end this video quickly, but also to show you that the most important part. We'll place, you'll just place all this exactly as you did in Red Base, but I'm not, for the purpose of this video, we're going to skip that. I'm just going to ungroup everything, and I'm going to grab the 2 main respawn zones, and I'm going to put them on the map as well. Okay, and in a second I'll show you why. We're going to put this so it's kind of centered. Let's just line it up to this line here. Okay, not so important, but we're going to line that there. Then you can actually see the respawn zones, and we're going to do the same with these. We're going to make a trick so that they're the same height, so that we're going to use the Z coordinate to set the height. So you see I've selected all 4, and go to object properties, position, Z. Let's so that they're the same. Don't worry about the other dimensions. Height is the most important part right now. Now, there is something extremely important you have to do, and I'm going to interrupt this first because I need to tell you something. So there we go. We're going to line that up with the doorway there again, so that they're kind of the same. The problem with these spawn zones is that once you place them, you cannot spawn on your map in Forge mode. Okay? So what you have to do first before you do anything else is, once you place these 4 items, is you're going to select all 4 of them. You're going to go to object properties. You're going to go to your boundary settings to your top, and you're going to bring that down as much as you possibly can, ensuring that it still covers all your spawn points, okay? And maybe 10 feet above the spawn point as well, just to be safe. Okay? So you have to make sure that there are no spawn points above this. So be careful, because, you know, there are some high points in the map. You got to make sure that there's no spawn points anywhere above that. And I think we're pretty safe with this. So the reason why is you're going to have to place 1 more spawn point. And here, let's just copy this one here. I'm going to duplicate this one. I'm going to change it to phased physics. I'm going to go down to labels. This is extremely important. Go down to labels. Change the label on this spawn point alone. And you're going to change this. Go past the letters. And you're going to make sure it has the Forge Include label. Okay? You're going to place this. I lost it. Oh no, I didn't. It's right there. You're going to place this just above. That's not high enough. You know what? Let's just put it on this ledge right here. Okay, because we know it's a legal part of the map, so we know it's safe to stand here. Okay, but there's no spawns up here. There we go. So that spot is just slightly above the line. So that means that when you go into Forge mode from now on, this is the only respawn point you'll have, and I'll show you that once I finish this. I'll jump off the map and I'll show you that this is the only spawn point you can spawn onto in Forge mode. So you have to be really careful about this, because once you weld these items, which is the last step I'm showing you, once that happens, it negates every spawn point on the map, and this is the only spawn point that you can use. But because it's Forge labeled, Forge Include, it will not show up in game. It will only show up in Forge mode. So there we go. So next point, grab your 4 respawn zones. Okay, and you're going to want to adjust the width so that they cover the entire width of the map. Oh, sorry, I guess it's length in this case. So same thing, we've got all 4 selected, and you're just going to go and make these wide enough so that they completely cover your entire map. And you can go way outside the boundaries, that's fine. Should I add some music for this part? If I remember, I'll edit some music in. This is the boring part. Okay, so we're well outside the map on this side. Well outside the map there as well. So the next one you're going to do is the in this case it's the width, and this is the tricky bit. All you need to do is adjust these until they just barely touch. This is can be tedious, but this is actually can be one of the quickest parts as well. You just until they just barely touch. You don't want them overlapping, but you just want it to just barely touch. Okay? And very important, you want to make sure that there are no spawn points like this one here fall on the gap between them, because then everyone will spawn on this point at all times. Because it's not covered by an anti-spawn zone, it's available to anyone at any time. But now, since we have all 4 of these grabbed, we have the attacker side, we have the defender side, and as I said, maybe you want to have less smaller spawn zone for the attackers or smaller spawn zones for the defenders. It's up to you. All you have to do is, since you have them all grouped, is just slide them over and check to make sure that this line is not does not fall on a respawn point. Oh, there we go. There's one there. So we're going to move it over a little bit more. Or, you know, I could have moved the respawn point. It's up to you. Either way. But it's just, you just have to ensure. Oh, there's another one there. So we're going to move it over just a little bit more. As I said, I could just go in and move those respawn points, but just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to show you that you have to be careful that it's not on a respawn point, but where you put it is completely up to you. So I think we're good. Is there any up here? No, there's none up here. There's definitely none on the bridge. And check outside again. No, it looks like we're good to go there. So just deselect, let them go. This is the very last point, and once we do this last step, your map is ready to go. There's four steps involved here, okay? I haven't placed those, but I'll show you that side anyway. You know what? As long as these spawn points are covered, which they are, I'm just going to leave it like that for the demonstration purposes. I'm going to link this map in the tutorial just so that you can practice on it or try it out or have a look at it. But I'll have it all cleaned up and ready to go by then. So the very last step, go into red base, select red brain, red initial spawn zone, and red respawn zone. So you have 3 items. They're all 3 red items, and the brain was the first piece you selected. Press up on the D-pad to group, go into your object properties, verify that the parent, if you look at the very bottom on the right side, it says the parent item is the script brain. See, it's not the spawn volume, it's a script brain. Then you can weld it. Deselect, blue brain, blue initial spawn, blue respawn zone. Oh, sorry, I forgot to group it. Check to see that the parent is the script brain. Weld it. I'll quickly go do the other side. Red brain, red zone, red respawn, weld, check, weld. There we go. Sorry, group check weld, not weld check weld. Brain, initial, stuck in the ceiling again. Respawn zone, group, good. Check, and weld. Your map is now ready to go. What I'll do is I will quickly chop out this next bit, and I'll run into my test game mode, which has 1-minute rounds, and it's perfect for testing your maps. So, see you in a second. Okay, here we
Acquire
are.
the
I guess I should have checked the cameras to make sure that they aim at the flags. Maybe the next one does. No, they don't. We'll have to change the cameras on these to set CTF. As you see, I just spawned in, and as I stated earlier, I'm in red base. I'm red. Red flag is here. And I would go over and check blue, but I know for sure that there's nothing there because there's no blue players to spawn the item. So because this is the oh right, we can always, oh no, you can't see hidden flags either when there's only one player. Let's go have a look anyway.
Time remaining 30 seconds.
This is the test game type. I'm going to link in the description, and it is 1 minute rounds, and it just allows you to test the game mode without having to wait forever for the round to end, because if you're the only player, you can't obviously score a flag if there's no place to score it.
Time remaining 10
or
seconds.
you can't pick up your own flag. So let's just let the round run out.
Round 1.
And hey, it's a victory.
Weapon pads open.
And you'll also want the static cam to move that so that it's aiming at the base as well. Let's go in the blue base. See, there's my delivery. See, it's red. There's my delivery nav point. And so this is success. There's the flag stand that will score. You can't see the flag that's hidden in there. You can't see the nav point that's hidden in there. There's no extra flags on the map. If we go over blue base, we obviously won't be able to see anything there as well, but let's just take a run over there anyway. So if this is how it looks in test, you should be able to test with full teams. As long as you can get to round 2 without seeing any extra flags, because sometimes you'll see an extra flag inside that area. Sometimes you'll see 2 or 3 flags on your flag stand. That means you've done something wrong. But if you've done everything right, and obviously I have,
10 seconds.
everything should be just as you see it here. Oop. Yeah.
Round 1.
There we go.
Sudden death protocol
That's all there is
engaged.
to it. So I'll detail everything in the text description as well, so that you don't have to go over the video dozens of times. So the video are meant to supplement the text descriptions, but some people like learning with video, some people like doing with text and pictures. So both will be available for you. So if you have any questions, I'd prefer that you go to the Forge Hub link and ask your question there rather than in the comments on the YouTube video, because I'll have notifications set. I always have the Forge Hub tab open, so I'll always see notifications immediately. So if you have any questions or comments about the mode, or if you're having trouble getting it working on your map, I'd love to come and help you. So just send me a message in the Forge Hub channel if you're having any problems. So that's it. Good luck, everyone. Have fun playing One Flag.